Now, if we really wanted to get fancy and we actually wanted to maybe use a compressor or what's called the automatic gain control, what we can do is press menu, and then you'll see the next option down from our record mode is AGC/comp. So automatic gain and compression, and right now that's set to off. So what that means is our gain is controlled manually with our mic gain switch over here on the side. But if we went to AGC/comp and then pressed our red record button, we'll see we have some options here. For the most part, I use AGC2. It just seems to work the best for people talking. I even use it if I plug into a mixing board or something like that. I just think it's probably the best bet. So to select that, I go down to AGC2, and you can play around with these, find out which one you think is best, try them out. I think that AGC1 applies a little too much control to the sound, so that it's sometimes the signal is a little bit lower than AGC2, but I prefer 2, so I'll select it in the menu here and press the record button, and then we see that that's now set in our menu. And to go back to our general working area, we'll hit the menu button again, and here we are. And now what happens is if I go ahead and hit record, here we are, and our gain bars, our levels are moving nicely, but oddly the mic gain is set to low. So what happens is, because we applied that automatic gain control, what's happening is our mic gain, we're now overriding our mic gain. So I could have it set to high, medium, or low. It doesn't matter, whatever it is, it's now happening automatically. And now we can take a look at some of the more advanced options on our Zoom H2. You'll notice that we have some options here across the top, front, some surround options, and then rear. For the most part, you're going to want to leave it set to front 90 degrees, which means the sound is being recorded from this portion of the microphone right here where my thumb is. So I'm talking and the sound is coming in through here. If you use this arrow right here, this button, and switch that over to 2-channel surround, then the sound is coming in from here and from here. You might think that's a good thing, but what this is called omnidirectional recording as opposed to unidirectional recording. And so what you're actually doing is, in addition to recording, in this case, if I was speaking and the sound is coming in through here, it's also coming in, it's bouncing off of the door in the background and then coming in through here. And so you get this really overly spacious sound. It'll be way too roomy is the actual technical term. It'll be too roomy for your interviews. The only time you might find it applicable is if you're trying to get some ambient sound, some background sound, and that sort of thing. But even then, just to be safe, just to ensure that you don't accidentally leave it on, I would still kind of recommend leaving it on front 90 degrees. If we wanted to change the card on the Zoom H2, put in a larger card, in this case I have my, what is this, a 4 gig card, yep. If we wanted to change the card, we'll obviously just power off the Zoom H2 first. And it's very polite, it says goodbye. And what we want to do is go here near the bottom. And we have this, which these usually break. This one is broken. Granted, I think this particular Zoom H2 went down to South America for like a month, so it has a valid excuse for being broken, but nevertheless, well, they do break, so be careful with them. And you just press down on the card and it'll pop up, and we just pull this out and put the new card in, like so. Then we put this back on, and I would probably duct tape that back on, and then I'd go out in the field and record. Now, I mentioned earlier about plugging into a mixing board. This might fall outside of the scope of the class, but you might find yourself in a situation where you do actually have to do this. In that case, what I would recommend is, again, using that automatic gain control, and this is going to be really important because what you're going to be doing is basically taking a sound signal from another source, the mixer, and then feeding it into the Zoom H2. Oh, wrong side. So you're dependent on how strong or weak that signal is, and you're probably not going to be sitting there watching the levels where you're in a situation where you can control them manually. So you're going to want to have it on automatic gain control, because it's really up to the live sound engineer to decide what's the signal like that's going into the Zoom H2. So there I would recommend either AGC2 or AGC1, just to ensure that whatever's coming out of the mixing board will match up nicely gain-wise with your Zoom H2. So after you've made friends with the live sound engineer, what you're going to do is take this, which should be included in your Zoom H2 kits, and the live sound engineer will take this, the RCA end of the RCA to 1/8 inch cable, and they will plug it into the appropriate outputs on the mixing board. And you will take this and plug it into where it says line in, and you'll make sure it's in there neat and securely. And then, just like everything else, you'll hit the red record button twice, and you'll be getting your sound from the mixing board. You're gonna want to make sure that you're actually plugged into line in and not headphones. Headphones will not work. Headphones are output from the Zoom H2. We want to be putting something into the Zoom H2. You also want to make sure that you are actually, if you're in a situation where you are getting the signal from a mixing board, you want to make sure that you're using line in and not external mic in. These are two different things. An external mic is, as the name implies, an actual external mic. And in most cases, if you're using an external mic which ends in an 1/8 inch cable or an 1/8 inch plug like this, my bet would be that it's probably not better than the microphone on the Zoom H2 itself. 9 times out of 10, unless it's some sort of situation where you have a lavalier mic. Most of the time, you're probably, it's an actual microphone, like a handheld microphone, is not going to be better than the microphone on the Zoom H2. So now that we've spent all that time recording our interviews and everything else with our Zoom H2, we're going to need to transfer those audio files to our computer. So what we'll do is take out the supplied USB cable that comes with your Zoom H2 kits, and we will take the small end and plug it into the USB port on the Zoom H2, and we will take the other end and plug that into the USB ports on our computer. And once the H2 is connected to the computer, you'll notice that it is on. It has power, and even when the power switch is off, it's basically acting like an external hard drive. And you'll notice that the sort of default screen right when we do this is in the USB screen here, storage and audio I/F. We are concerned with storage, so with the arrow pointing towards storage, we'll just go ahead and press our red record button to select that. And it says please wait, and now we see a little image of the Zoom H2 talking to a computer. And when we look at our computer screen, we should see now the name of our H2 appear within the available items on our computer. My H2 is named H2SD. Yours might be named something else, or it might even say no name right here. At any rate, it'll be the new item that appears in your list of available drives. So to see what we have on our Zoom H2, we'll go over here and select it. And most things should probably be in folder 1. So if we double click that, we'll see several different WAV files. And now I can select all of those or certain ones and click and drag them onto my computer or a thumb drive or an external drive, wherever I'm storing all of my audio files. And then once they've been copied over, I can eject my Zoom H2. And I'm all done. I'll return the Zoom H2 to the lab monitors or the instructor, and then I'm good to go.